The public isn't given all the information they require by either the government or the media. It is vital to start purchasing food and storing it safely while we still can, since really harsh times are coming. The window of time for most Americans to purchase necessary items to prepare for the economic crisis that is arising all around us is quickly closing. This is since food prices are increasing almost 3 times as quickly as earnings. And going forward, this trend will only get stronger. Because they will no longer be able to pay the skyrocketing prices of food, they won't be able to prepare for the difficult times that are on the horizon. Welcome to the Financial Flow. Please like and subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay up on our latest videos. The rate of unemployment is anticipated to increase over the next few months as more companies start letting go of thousands of workers to survive without customers and profit margins that are contracting due to dropping sales, weaker consumer demand, and shrinking profit margins. Millions of American households won't have enough to eat because of rising debt levels and a severe housing crisis, and by that time, it will be too late to try to store the food they require. Most people tend to dismiss the predictions of some economists, believing that such harsh conditions are unlikely to occur in the 21st century, and that the next economic slump won't return food scarcity and food insecurity to levels last seen during the Great Depression. But that's merely a result of how short the average person's memory is. We don't even need to look back that far to find examples of how quickly things can turn bad. 3 months were adequate to return food security levels to those seen in the 1930s, when the health crisis first emerged. 1 in 6 homes and 1 in 3 households with children are now experiencing food insecurity due to the increase in the unemployment rate from March to June, which went from 3.2% to 13%. Since then, there has been some improvement, but not much. Today, 1 in 10 American families, including 1 in 8 American families with children, still lack regular access to enough food and must rely on government assistance and charitable organizations just to make ends meet each month. Since more than 2/3 of us are presently living paycheck to paycheck, the majority of Americans are just one job loss away from finding themselves in the same tragic situation as these families. Our occupations are not as reliable as we assume they are, as the pandemic has shown. Even the most powerful organizations can become destabilized by a single unanticipated occurrence, leading to a wave of job losses that affect both white-collar and blue-collar workers. But we must be clear that the current economic collapse is neither unforeseen nor should it come as a surprise to anyone. The Federal Reserve is currently attempting to combat the inflation crisis they themselves created, after pumping an unprecedented quantity of newly minted money into the economy amid the health crisis. As people cashed in their stimulus checks and began to spend this fake money, did little more than temporarily increase consumer demand, leading to an imbalance between the amount of products that businesses could produce and the amounts of things that consumers desired to purchase. And as a result of this mismatch between supply and demand, consumer prices soared to new heights. But as inflation started to spiral out of control to the point where majority of Americans were finding it difficult to afford even their most basic requirements, it became evident that policymakers had been way too aggressive with their money printing methods. In reality, they destroyed the economy instead of increasing it. In an effort to curb inflation through what they refer to as demand destruction, the Fed is currently aggressively raising interest rates. For those who are not familiar with the term, demand destruction is a phenomena that occurs when prices are so high that consumers can no longer afford to continue purchasing goods, forcing businesses to lower their prices. They won't be able to sell enough goods otherwise to keep their company afloat. However, you've surely heard that the labor market is currently in excellent shape. And it's a big problem for the Fed because Americans can still consume even when things move more slowly because of high employment rates and the fact that our labor force rebounded from the tremendous losses brought on by the virus pandemic. Excessive consumer demand is a direct result of high consumption. The purpose of increasing interest rates is to restrict access to credit for businesses, preventing them from borrowing money to support expansion and hire additional workers. In addition, American businesses are already dealing with high costs for commodities, transportation, and other operating expenses, and they have more debt than they did prior to the health crisis. The vast majority of American businesses, both large and small, are currently on the verge of financial collapse. Additionally, they will soon have to deal with their debt's maturity. Without federal assistance, many of them will fail if they continue operating as they already do, which will compel them to start eliminating employees in order to cut back on automobiles and keep from going bankrupt. By putting pressure on businesses and allowing unemployment rates to rise, our politicians want to deter individuals from overconsuming. Most Americans are unaware that the next Great Depression is being created right beneath our noses. There is no question that a wave of layoffs is imminent, and our employees may expect tougher economic times in the future. You won't be protected even if you are your own boss. Politicians consistently underestimated the dangers of a severe recession, resulting in persistently high costs for everything and great damage to our finances. Food costs increased 13% in September, nearly 3 times as quickly as salaries, which rose only 5%. We are already having increasing difficulty paying for our groceries, even with jobs. It's safe to say that without them, things would be far worse. The United Nations have been yelling and shouting that there is currently a food crisis and that it will only worsen in 2023. People need to start planning while they still have the chance, since food shortages are a reality and not just a notion. Since all of these elements are coming together, there is a perfect storm for food inflation, both in the near term and the long term. Industry executives are openly warning us. Therefore, if you still have a job, take advantage of this rare opportunity to store food before the economy collapses severely. Just start off wisely. You don't need to start out big. Invest in 2 of the products that you and your family use the most frequently, rather than non-essential items. Every time you go grocery shopping, keep doing it. Pick long-lasting goods that are high in calories and energy. The empty shelves we all are currently witnessing will become even more empty when things go south. In our big cities, anarchy will break out as people race to hoard anything they can get their hands on, out of desperation. However, since they won't be able to afford what they need, many jobless Americans may turn to theft and shoplifting. You never know what individuals will do when they are hungry and witness their children going without food, so make sure you put your goods in a secure location. Food shortages during the Great Depression were actually caused by supply destruction, because there was an excess of food available. There is no surplus right now, and those who believe that the government would assist us during this recession would be horrified to learn that it won't. Most stimulus payments from the government would make inflation go away, and high prices will continue. In these last few months, we need to start preparing and stockpiling food. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Have a good one.